This is Live from the Table, the official podcast of the world-famous Comedy Cellar, coming at you on Sirius XM 99 Rock Comedy, as well as available as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and available on YouTube for a more multimedia experience. By the way, did I mention that Sirius rejected all of my tracks? I sent those tracks for recording.
We've been over this.
They said that, well, my contact at Sirius said that they felt that the audience wasn't sufficiently enthusiastic. So I don't know if that's the reason, but that's what I heard was the reason from my contact at Sirius, who may or may not know the real reason that they would not accept any of my tracks for to be played on.
We've had this conversation
Okay.
numerous times. And the solution is very simple.
What was the solution again?
Is just to re-record.
Well, but my question is if it really is it really the audience, or they really don't like the joke?
But why don't you try?
Oh, I could try. It's just a pain in the ass.
It's not that much of a pain in the ass because you don't.
First of all, I'd have to get a good audience this time to eliminate that possible factor. And then once that's done, it remains to be seen whether that really was the reason.
But we also discussed that you don't have to do like a 40-minute set. You could actually just cut joke by joke.
Right. I'll have to discuss with Noam how to do that in terms of getting the audio from.
But you already have that. I mean, you can do that just when you go up and do a 15-minute set.
Right, but I don't know if the audio is the same audio, or they have to tweak it, or I don't know. Because first of all, the audience you need to hear the audience. So I don't know if the audio. If the audience is properly mic'd, or that has to be done,
Well, what'd you do last time? Was the audience mic'd? Hi, I'm Periel. Welcome to the show.
Periel is here, everybody. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that this is Dan Naturman.
Yeah. Noam's away.
Noam is away. Yes, Noam is away. He's in Italy.
That's
he was
correct.
In Japan. This is like his Axis tour. He was in Japan and Italy, and I guess Germany will be next. But yes, we don't think of the Italians that way because they're such nice people and their food is so good, but they seem so inoffensive, and yet they were part of that axis with Hitler. But in any case,
but now the Italians seem to be a big fan of the Jews.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so.
The Italians in Italy, or the ones in Staten Island?
The ones in Staten Island. And the Bronx.
Okay. Well, we'll get to politics later.
Okay.
Noam's not here, and it's just me and Periel. We'll see how that does for us. But so we probably won't get. We're not going to get deep into it. Last week we had Stephen Bonnell, aka Destiny.
Yes, I was managing that from Paris. It was very stressful, I have to say.
And it got a lot of views. On YouTube, and a lot of listeners, but. That's because Destiny, has so many fans, and a lot of the comments were just like, rah Destiny and Noam's an idiot. A lot of the comments that I read.
Is that true?
Yeah, not all of them, and many were very, pro Noam, or just thought the discussion was good. It was.
Oh, okay.
It was not a love fest, as you so typically will see on a podcast. Two people that agree with each other, and sort of wash each other's balls. This was a real debate, and there was a real difference of opinion, which I think is good, and I don't know how common that is.
Yeah, especially nowadays, right? I mean, I think that Noam's generally lauded for having people on that he doesn't agree with, right?
Well, he's lauded by those who laud him, and castigated by those who disagree. But I do think it's admirable that he has those kinds of discussions. But anyway,
do you think that we're going to have that kind of discussion?
No, I don't think. Well, we do, but we tend to disagree. Like, we disagree on my career and what I should do, and but the disagreements are of less. They're not quite as important on a world scale.
The stakes aren't so high.
Well, they are for me, but not for the world.
But you actually have said that some of my ideas
I usually
are correct, and then you don't do it.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I often will concede that your ideas are not bad, and often I won't do them. But
do you think, wait a second, slow down. Do you think that's because it's difficult to make changes?
Because I'm a broken man. And, it's hard for me to get things done. I did something. We can get back to this, but I did something this week that I'm deeply ashamed of, and almost don't want to talk about it because it's so shameful and stupid, really.
Okay.
I bought a pair of shoes online.
What? Okay, and they don't fit,
and they don't fit right.
so return them.
The point is I shouldn't have bought shoes online.
That's ridiculous. Of course you should have. You should have bought, not only should you have bought shoes online, you should have bought 2 or 3 pairs of the same shoe.
But why not go to a place and try them on and make sure it fits? Because I ordered a 7.5, which is my size.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I just like to say that it seems like it's not so easy to make a dress shoe that's comfortable, because every time I wear dress shoes, I'm hobbling by the end of the evening.
Why did you need dress shoes?
Because sometimes I do shows that require dress shoes.
Okay.
For example, tomorrow I'm doing a show in Maryland for a organization that it's the kind of thing where you'd want to dress up for it.
Okay.
Last week I did something in Delaware for this theater, and if it was a theater, I'm going to dress up a little bit more than I would.
I love that.
So,
okay.
Well, but
do you have okay? What brand?
I googled like comfortable and dress shoes, and Amberjack pops up. It says this is the most comfortable dress shoe
Never heard of it
that you can imagine. So I ordered it, and the size is right, but it's narrow.
Yeah.
And it just I figure, well, maybe I'm lying to myself saying, well, maybe it'll stretch.
No.
And
No. Return them immediately. You're supposed to call me.
I'm not fucking order shoes again online.
It's fine if you order it from like Zappos and you order 2 or 3 sizes, and it's very easy to return. It is by design. You take it to like your local.
I don't like going to the returning shit.
You want to go to the store?
I want to go to the store.
I'll take you.
You don't have to take me. I know how to put fucking.
Well, apparently not.
I know how to try on shoes. I made the mistake of ordering shoes online.
You also made the mistake of listening to like a fucking
No, but then
Yelp
I read the
review.
I read the reviews, and they all say it's a comfortable shoe.
Where were the reviews?
It was like Yelp or Amazon.
Yeah,
whatever.
no. Who cares about that? No.
Anyway, it just seems like.
How much were they?
Like $180.
Oh yeah, that should be comfortable. That's like a decent price point.
Well, it just seems like a comfortable dress shoe is. I guess it's possible, but I've yet to encounter it.
I don't like that. I think you want like a more tried and true brand, like a made in Italy. Like, where's that shoe made?
I don't. Amberjack is the brand. I don't know where it's made.
Max, can you look up where it's made? You want like a good like Italian, European, like people who know how to make shoes.
You think it wouldn't be that hard to make it?
They're made in Portugal.
That sounds like a.
Well, are the Portuguese really known for their
I
fine leather?
I don't know what they're known for except for port wine.
Well, there you go.
And soccer, I guess. Anyway, okay. Well, I'll deal with that. But I have no dress shoes for tomorrow's show in Maryland.
Well, it's not too late.
I'm not going to buy dress shoes today.
Do you have a nice pair of sneakers?
Not really. I'll wear. I'll suffer. That's what I'll do.
You're not going to wear these pieces of garbage.
I'll wear that or some other piece of garbage. I'll end the night as I usually do, handicapped.
You need to return
them.
But
fine. But that's been stated.
Okay.
Anyway, what else do we have? We have a list of topics.
We do have a list of topics.
Well, you were in France.
I was just in France. I was just
Were you just there for vacation?
I went with my girlfriend. One of my best friends toted me along with her. She goes on this trip, and she was kind enough to invite me.
Did you do any stand-up there?
I didn't. I was unfortunately unable.
Did you try?
No, not hard enough.
Yeah, because there's tons of stand-up.
Yeah, I could have tried harder, but
there's tons of rooms over there for English speaking.
Yeah, I love Paris so much.
Is that your first time there? No.
No, I've been there many times. I even speak a little French.
What do you love about Paris?
I love everything about Paris minus the anti-Semitism. I love the food. I love the fashion. I love the art. I feel like everything there makes me, really appalled at what a shithole America can be when it comes to like capitalism and consumption and the attention to detail, like even their like little sugar packets are beautiful.
I didn't notice the sugar packets. The architecture is very nice because, first of all, this is something I learned relatively recently. Like Paris was a dump until like the mid 1800s, where I think it was Napoleon III or something decided, no, we're going to make this a beautiful city. We're going to make it a showcase, and just sort kind of like demolished everything and rebuilt it. And it's the major difference between Paris and New York is that the buildings go together. They, they're all similar architecturally. Whereas in New York, every building is different.
Okay.
So it's all sort of haphazard. So Paris has this style of architecture is like it kind of goes together.
It's just so beautiful.
And also the streets aren't. Manhattan has a grid, which it's not going to be as beautiful, because you can see right down you don't see like, I don't know, for some reason when it's a grid, it's just not as pleasing visually as the streets of Paris, which go in every different direction.
I mean, I know that there are seedy parts of Paris. I lived there for a while when I was in my 20s, but you go on the metro, you walk around, there's not garbage everywhere. It's just so well kept, and it's just.
Well, it'd be nice if maybe you commented on what I said, which was that the architecture is cohesive and that it's not a grid pattern, rather than just pulling a Noam Dorman and completely ignoring it and going off in your own direction.
I mean,
just a thought.
I think,
or you could say that's true, and also. Give me at least that's true.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that's
or at least interesting.
Yes, that's actually a good point. I never thought of that. Yeah,
you could say that too.
And I also didn't know that about Napoleon. I didn't know that. That's also.
I believe
very
it was Napoleon III, which is not to be confused with the original dude, the Waterloo guy. That's what Noam does. I'll say something, and
it's a fair. I accept that.
He'll just completely ignore it. Because he doesn't give me credit for intellectual.
I don't think that's true at all.
I think there's a lot of truth to that, but
I don't think that's true at all. I think that you feel that way, but then you'll say, "Oh, well, I didn't read that," or that wasn't my thing, and then you'll be annoyed that you're not participating.
Okay, but
that's a different conversation. Let's get back to Paris.
Well, anyway, so when I was in Paris recently, I came up with a joke that worked there.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether it worked last night. I did it at the comic strip, but that was because there was a French person in the audience. I don't know if it would just work in the abstract because it's okay. I'll tell you the joke that we can discuss why it may or may not work. The joke is about something I saw on the Paris metro.
Okay.
Which might be too far. Like, in order for a joke to work, the audience has to feel somewhat connected to it.
Okay.
They don't have to necessarily have experienced it, but they have to feel some connection to it. So anyway, in Paris, if you go on the metro, there is a sign on the metro that says that the seats closest to the doors, I don't know if you saw it, you were in the metro, you mentioned, or the subway as we call it, the seats closest to the doors are reserved for, and they list in order of priority who it's reserved for. So I think it's pregnant women, the handicapped, the elderly, and wounded war veterans. And that's what it says on the sign, both in English and French and in German, actually. So my joke was, it says wounded war veterans. It doesn't say which army. So, it might get some old German guy's going to go, yeah, well, that is my seat. I was wounded by these French assholes during the whatever, So anyway, so it worked in Paris. The question is would it work in New York, or is it just too far removed? I'm talking about the Paris metro, something that's totally outside the experience realm of anybody in the audience.
But you said that it worked in New York because
it worked
there was
last night when there was the French person in the audience. I said,
I
was just in Paris and I saw in the subway, blah, 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 blah. And the joke, and everybody laughed when I did that joke. I don't know, because again, it's like something you saw in the subway in Paris. It doesn't have any resonance.
Right.
To
I wonder
New Yorkers. But the fact that there was somebody from Paris in the audience might have made the difference.
Mm-hmm. I think,
or maybe it wouldn't matter if there were not somebody.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to try it.
Try it. I mean, yeah, it's no tragedy either way. I'm just wondering, Max, what's your sense?
I think it works. I don't think you need to have been to France because we have signs on the subways and buses here. I don't think the idea of reserved seating is that local to Paris. I think it would work.
I mean, that's the funny part, right? Like and that's everybody can understand reserved seating.
Yes, yeah. So, well, maybe it would.
I think as long as you can understand the concept of reserved seating, it's a funny joke.
Okay. Well, I'll try it.
I saw another funny joke that
I posted. On
Instagram. That you posted.
Which one?
About like what your screen name is.
Oh, that one on Instagram. Yeah. So I posted. Well, that's interesting because I have something to say about that more. So the joke is where I say that like this guy was arguing about global warming on Twitter, and his screen name was Angry White Man, but he didn't have a profile pic, so I don't know what he looks like. He might not even be white. Just because his Twitter handle is Angry White Man doesn't mean he's white. My Twitter handle is Pussy Smasher. So that's the joke. But anyway, I tried to boost it. I've gotten desperate. I'm playing the lottery.
I don't like the way you frame that.
But
it's not desperate.
To play the lottery?
No, to boost a post. It's like a tool. It's there for a reason.
I don't know I don't know anybody else that admits to doing it.
Well, I mean,
maybe people do it. I don't know.
Of course people do it.
I don't know if they do or they don't.
Well,
I don't know. People, they have shit that goes viral. Shit goes viral.
Okay.
None of my shit's ever gone viral. Like maybe 100,000 views is the most I've had.
Do you not think 100,000 views?
That's not to me
a lot.
I don't know how you define viral.
Well, let's define.
I would define it as 1.1 million views. No,
so more than 1 million views.
I'm just making up a number. No, 1 million probably would be viral. To me, seems virally just because that's a nice round number, and it's. Okay. I don't think 100,000 is viral, but I guess viral is a subject. The term is subject to discussion. But anyway, so I tried to boost that on Instagram. I don't know. Can you boost on TikTok? Probably. I don't know.
I'm not on TikTok.
So I said, well, let me try to boost this. So I click boost, and they say, well, you can like for $10 a day. It's like sponsoring a child. It's like
it is
for
like
the price of a cup of coffee. So for $10 a day, you can get like 3,000, whatever the thing is. So I said, okay, I'll boost it for $10 a day for 6 days. So for $60.
Yeah.
Then Apple takes like 25. Apple pays like $25 like on top of that for some reason, which seems scandalous, but that's another story. But anyway, so they said, okay, your post is under review.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's sitting around looking at this. Is fucking Mark Zuckerberg watching this? Who's reviewing this? Is like people in a room?
I mean, they're probably scanning it for.
But is it like actual humans in a room going, oh, all right, well, just sitting around a table?
I doubt it. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Or they just scan it for keyword. Anyway, they rejected it. I guess because I said pussy.
Yeah.
I guess that. But I don't know what else would be.
Well, of course, that's why.
And they rejected another post that I did
with a curse.
No, it was an old joke of mine that I made into a cartoon. A friend of mine does cartoons.
Yeah,
so I made it into a cartoon. It's an old joke that always works, where I say, I was talking to a girl at a bar, and I usually say the girl's like trashing Obama.
Yeah,
and I say, well, why are you trashing Obama? She said, well, I don't like black people, to be honest with you, and I was disgusted, but I was also horny, so I played along and pretended to agree with her. Finally, I talked her into coming home with me. Of course, I had to call up my roommate, Darnell, and tell him to get the hell out of there. I was like, no time to explain, just go. And in the joke, I say, take that poster of Martin Luther King with you. But in the cartoon, I just say, take that poster with you. And then we see Obama, yes, we can.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we can poster.
Yeah.
I think that's a little funnier when you don't actually say it.
Yeah.
But you kind of cut to the Obama. Anyway, they rejected that one, I guess, because it's racial.
Yeah, of course.
So,
why don't you try boosting the banana joke?
I could try boosting the banana joke, but they might not like that either.
Yeah, they might not. Yeah,
I can't get hard on an empty stomach. I mean, if it's just a bot looking for keywords, the word hard.
Yeah, that's probably
might not pop up.
Yeah. Max,
if you will, but word hard might not pop up. It was accidental, but
Max, you know if it's
a happy
bot?
accident, if you will.
I think it probably is. I think it's all just.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that like you have a committee that's sitting there.
Have you tried putting these clips
And they're
on?
like, well, we're not so sure. We better talk to Zuckerberg about this one.
Have you tried
Yeah,
putting
Zuck, the guy says he can't get hard on an empty stomach. What are you saying, Max?
I was saying, have you tried putting these on YouTube as like a YouTube reel or YouTube short?
Yeah. I did, but I haven't tried. I didn't boost on YouTube. I don't know if you probably can boost on YouTube too.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way.
But I did boost one video, another cartoon, and I mean the ratio. I probably got like for each $1 spent, for each $3 spent, one new follower, which is not a good enough ratio. Like, not that I won't try again, but that ratio is not great.
You know that
if I could get 10 followers per $1, then now you're talking about something.
But you think that like you do this once and then it's like it either works or it doesn't work.
No,
and then
not that it either
done.
works or it doesn't, but you see a trend.
One time is not a trend. You have to do it 10 times, do it 20 times, and then you actually have like some information that you can.
I'm just saying this is where we're at so far. Just
The
where
other
we're at so
thing
far is a pair of uncomfortable shoes and a poor boost rate.
But listen to me. You know that a lot of times people bleep out the word.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of saying pussy, they'll bleep out pussy. I think that actually is sort of a bummer for that joke, to be honest. But that's what everybody does for that reason.
But would it be in the subtitle?
So they would put P
P,
asterisk.
Yeah, okay.
I've even seen people put other words like plum. Right
in the subtitle.
Yes,
I think you want to put other words because I think the algorithm also catches the asterisks now, so they also know that you're still saying something bad. So I think it's becoming more common for people to just put any word.
But I mean, they allow the video on Instagram. They just don't allow it to be boosted. So I don't know what that's all about.
But they might allow the video on Instagram, but they might like shadow ban it a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. That's possible. Yeah, that could be. It could be.
So that
and there's something weird with those cartoons because they're getting so the number of likes is so inferior to the actual when I do jokes at a club that something weird is going on. I think there's something. Something about the algorithm and a cartoon versus stand-up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that that's a known thing that like a cartoon is going to get less than like a person's face. By the way.
But why would it seems to me that Instagram is probably pushing it out less?
Yes, that's what I'm. Yes,
because they think that it's just not as.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I would challenge you to really do like 15, 20 of these
cartoons
and
or just...
whatever. I mean, probably not cartoons. I mean, frankly, I think
because cartoons is number one, it adds to the joke because, like I said, you can do stuff with a cartoon that you can't do with the joke. Like I say, and get rid of that poster, and then it cuts to the poster is a lot more to me funnier and effective than and get rid of that poster, of Obama or of Martin Luther King. I just think it's a lot funnier. There's stuff I can do, like my Tinder in the subway joke.
Yes, but I'm going.
You know what? I was going to elaborate as to why that's funnier as a cartoon, but never mind.
The
point is there's things you can do with a cartoon you can't do with.
But it's so much more labor intensive,
but it's also so much more. Not everybody's doing it.
Yeah, but so what? Who cares? I mean, there's not like it's like a finite number of viewers. Like you perform stand up probably like almost 7 nights a week, and you can cut those 15 minutes.
Well, if I hit the lottery, it's going to be 0 nights a week. Cut that 7 down to. Maybe once.
But you could cut those 15 minutes and put them on endlessly, and it's so much easier for you to do, and the payoff is...
Right, I'm seeing that the payoff with these cartoons is really bad. Now, maybe if I get a big following... And then I can hit them with a cartoon and see if they like it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think the cartoons are fun. We made a cartoon. It was fun. I love doing it. But the amount of time and money and effort it takes to make a cartoon is really significant.
Right. Yeah. Well, you may be right, and I may try another one, but I'm leaning toward what you're saying because I'm not seeing it's not bearing fruit.
Right. Yeah.
Not bearing fruit.
I love the cartoons. You know that.
But again, I just feel like it's like I don't want to do things that everybody and their uncle are doing. And everybody and their uncle are not doing cartoons, but if they're not working, they're not working.
Okay, but wait, but you're not. because you're different than everybody else. Like your jokes are different and you as a comic are different than everybody else. So you're so unique, your jokes, your style, everything. So why not lean into that?
I have everything but good shoes.
Well, maybe. And soon you'll have good shoes.
Hopefully, God willing. So anyway, yeah. So
I wonder how impressed on a scale of 1 to 10 you'd be with my French. And I'm going to
probably very unimpressed.
Even for like,
well, I mean,
it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
But I can hold my own. Like I can converse enough to, if I'm with a bunch of Americans, like I'm the one who's speaking French. Okay. But you're not even that impressed with my Hebrew.
Well, I can't ascertain your Hebrew because I don't speak it.
But people
all I know when I asked you, like, how do you say screwdriver? You look at me like I got 3 heads.
Yeah, I don't know how to say screwdriver.
Well, this is the word that any 10-year-old in Israel would know.
Why would I need to use the word screwdriver? Maybe it's borig, but it's like, I mean, do you know how to say screwdriver in French?
Tournevis. And if you want to say a Phillips screwdriver, tournevis cruciform.
Wow, that's impressive.
Now, it could well be that I just learned that before the show because I was hitting you with a screwdriver thing. But I did happen to know that. I don't know all the tools, but I know many tools. Do you know how to say a hammer in Hebrew?
Patish.
Okay. What about nail? Not the nail on your hand, the nail with a hammer.
Can't think of it.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a lot of vocabulary that you seem to be lacking.
But you're like, how often am I asking for like a nail and a hammer in Hebrew?
Look, I don't know, but this is a word that any elementary school Israeli would know.
Yeah, that's probably true.
All right, I'll give you one more. Persevere.
Lamshich lenasot.
That's to continue to do. No?
To continue to try.
Okay.
Which is to persevere. I don't know that there's a word for persevere.
There probably is, but your translation is satisfactory.
Okay.
Moving on.
What's next?
Well, I did finally get a joke to work that I've been working on for a couple of months, and it was satisfying.
Okay.
I mean, for a day or two, and then it's like back to my old grouchy self. But because I in my apartment building, it's probably the case in every apartment building that you can you hear your neighbors when you're in the hallway? Like I can hear them like they're right next to me.
Well, they are right next to you.
No, but like if I'm in the hallway, I can hear my neighbors on the phone or having a conversation.
A little bit. Okay.
So I said, well, there's got to be a joke in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried different permutations. I said, well, what if I like the woman. One idea that I had that didn't really work was like I heard the woman across from me talking to her doctor, and I said, hey, you gotta, about your blood pressure problems, you should probably try real vanilla extract. And she said to me, well, about your porno problem, you should probably try real women. Because the implication being she heard me watching, but that never worked. So then I said, well, so another permutation is I heard the woman across from me talking on the phone, and I said, oh my God, if I can hear her talking on the phone, she could probably hear me watching porno. Mm-hmm. Because I can hear every word she's saying, and not only that, but she's saying the dude across from me is constantly watching porno. That's a second version, and that worked, but only half the time. So the final version I got is, I said to a woman, I heard a woman complaining in her apartment. It's like the joke starts off, everybody can hear everybody. I heard the woman complaining she was single. She wants to be a nice guy with a good sense of humor and educated. So I said, oh, that's me. So I saw her in the lobby and I said, hey, I asked her on a date and she said, not interested. I said, what do you mean not interested? I heard you on the phone complaining you couldn't get a man. She said, okay, but I heard you on the phone complaining you couldn't get an erection. I didn't hear Max laughing at that one. But the other version is I heard you on the phone complaining you ain't got no man. She said, I heard you on the phone complaining you ain't got no money. So those are two versions.
Okay.
The money version is cleaner. I think the erection version is funnier.
The erection version is funnier. The second version is funny too.
Mm-hmm.
The first version I think doesn't work because real vanilla isn't really a solution to that.
Yeah, so I mean I've looked that up. Real vanilla extract is a treatment for hypertension.
Nobody knows that.
I know, but it sounds like something that could be a treatment.
I think
Anyway, I slaved over this joke for months trying to figure out a way to work. And this is the Dan Naturman touch. Because the other comics, now, it's not getting me anywhere, but other comics, they you know, I mean, maybe some, but I'm not seeing other comics doing jokes at that level.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's genius, but this is stand-up comedy. This is not the realm of genius.
Okay. Well.
Okay, this is not for geniuses here. But among the idiots that do stand-up comedy, I think I stand out in terms of the jokes. But
well, I think that everybody probably agrees that that's true. I think that Dan Naturman is largely considered.
To me, a great joke, a great comic. A good comic is a comic that consistently makes an audience laugh.
Okay.
You know, not every time, maybe, but a great comic is a comic that makes the audience laugh, but when you hear his jokes, you say to yourself, I cannot imagine any other comic doing those jokes. That's my beef with Jimmy Carr. And because he's a public figure and usually famous, normally I wouldn't trash a comic. I'm not trashing him.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw him on, what was it? Fallon, I guess it was.
Okay.
He was on Fallon. He was doing jokes that were funny jokes. But I said to myself, yeah, these are funny, but, you know, I could imagine Hedberg maybe doing something similar, Dimitri Martin or Anthony Jeselnik. I mean, I got many comics I could say.
You picked some like pretty great comics, though.
Okay, but I'm saying like I could see them doing this joke.
Okay,
this is a joke that if they did it, I would say okay, yeah. So I'm not. So what are you bringing to the table that I haven't seen, or that nobody else is doing, or that somebody, or in a style that nobody else is doing? And I couldn't come up with anything. And so I said to because he's like a joke like, oh, you know, 1 in 10 men is gay, or something like that. 1 in 10 men is gay. With 10 men in 1, that's really gay. I said, oh, that's funny. Funny. I got no beef with that joke. Beef, okay. Double entendre. I got no beef with that joke. It's a funny joke, but I said to myself, I could just, any number of other comics I could imagine coming up with that. He had other jokes too, and they were all good. The guy's a good comic. He's a B comic, a B plus even. But I can't give him an A.
You can't get because it's not unique.
It's not sufficiently unique.
It's not sufficient.
Not sufficiently unique in my estimation. And so that's why that's how I see it.
Well, I think it's a fair.
I normally wouldn't. Again, I criticize another comic, except that he's a huge star, and so I feel like he's in the public. He's out there for public critique. Whatever. And I've met him. He's a nice guy. I hope he doesn't hear this.
Well, he might.
Yeah, well, he might. But that's how I feel about it.
But there are comics who you do think are unique.
Wholly unique. Yes.
Yeah.
David Tell is at the top of that list.
Yeah.
There are comics you can be unique in various ways. You can be
Sebastian Maniscalco.
I'm not familiar really with his work, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to say one or the other. I've heard a little bit of it. He definitely has a unique style. The way he speaks is unique.
Yeah. It's very unique.
So you can be unique by the jokes, by the subject matter, but by the subject matter, Keith Robinson is doing jokes about having 2 strokes. That's wholly unique because of the subject matter. Tina Frimmel, who does jokes about and has cerebral palsy. What's her name? Hannah Gadsby. Okay, she has some unique stuff. I don't know if it's entirely unique, but it's pretty unique.
But you
can have a unique style,
but it has to be unique and it has to be funny to get an A, and be an A plus, right?
That's for getting A plus, yes.
Yeah,
but you can squeeze by with a gentleman's C, with just unique but not that funny. Goldman. Goldman is nobody's doing jokes about. He's the 10 minutes about the postal code.
Yeah,
just no one's doing that.
Yeah,
and no one's doing and the way he's just. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but just the rhythm and the style. Nobody's doing it. Jim Norton, in particular, his stuff about trans because his wife is trans. That is unique in terms of subject matter. You can also be unique just in terms of style, like Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison made fun of the Ethiopians. This is going way back when there was a famine in Ethiopia. We're going back to the 80s. And he said, well, why don't you go where the food is? And I think a few comics probably made that joke. So it wasn't unique in the joke. What was unique is the screaming. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, of course.
Dice was his style was
Gilbert Godfrey.
Gilbert Godfrey, obviously, was unique both in style and in jokes. Some of those jokes were really just nutty, and you know, like he had that joke about waking up, and everybody had 3 names, you know, and Jennifer Love Hewitt was there, and Anthony Michael Hall was there. Anyway, anybody under 40 doesn't know who those people are, but so that
That's a good Gilbert impression.
it's okay, but I give a lot of credit for uniqueness, and Dave Attell is at the top of very high on the list of unique comedians, and one of the reasons he's so not the most famous comic in the world, and I mean there's a lot of comics that work here that are a lot more famous than he is now, but he is utterly unique. His style is completely unique. So.
And what about Ricky Gervais?
I'm not familiar with his work.
How are you not?
I'm not familiar with his work.
All right.
Yeah, not familiar. I'm not necessarily a student of comedy that I know everybody. But the people I know.
But you're not a student.
No, I'm
of
not. But I don't know
Richard
everybody.
Pryor.
I hate to say it, I'm not familiar with his work. I've heard some of it, and you know,
I think that it would qualify.
Okay. Yeah, well,
Jessica Kirson.
Yeah, Jessica Kirson's pretty unique. But Jimmy Carr, I just didn't.
Yamaneika Saunders.
Yeah, you know, maybe not wholly unique, but one of very few.
Yeah, I think she's pretty unique. Her style, I mean, I've never seen and she's so funny. I think I'm putting her on the list.
Okay. Yeah, and well, you may be right. You know, a lot of these people I only see like in passing because like if they're on before me, I'll see 2 minutes of them. So I don't know necessarily. So, you know, that's anyway.
Okay, so you're pleased with the joke.
I'm pleased it's been working. Very few of my jokes work all the time. There's always and this joke works about 80%. It always gets laughs. The question is, does it get a robust laugh or does it get a medium laugh? And I would say 20% of the time it gets a medium laugh, and 80% of the time it gets a robust laugh, which for me is a good percentage.
Yeah.
Because very few of my jokes if any, get robust laughs all the time. Very few. I don't even know if any of them do. Maybe the one I do about meeting the woman at the gym and creeping her out because I say, "Oh, you got here a bit later than normal." That typically gets a big laugh, and in any context, like no matter who. But you know, I've done that joke for like at a synagogue, and because they don't date, and it's like.
What do you mean they don't date?
Well, they're all married usually at those venues in those shows. And like the idea of me being a creep at the gym doesn't seem to resonate.
Yeah.
You know, as it might with a younger audience.
Right.
Yeah, just the Jewish audience is generally they like meat and potatoes comedy. They don't like quirky, stuff. They kind of like just meat and potatoes, just like and the Gentiles do this and the Jews do this. I opened for Elon Gold just on Sunday at a theater in Newark.
Oh yeah, how was that?
That was good. It was good, but they responded mostly to the Jewish-oriented material.
Yeah.
But in any case, I don't know if I did I think I did do the gym joke there, and they didn't love it. Anyway, what's anything on the list here? I think this is a good episode.
I do,
but very, very different than the Noam episodes. Noam got so deep in the weeds with Destiny. Like, they were talking about January 6th and like stuff. Like, I know the basics of January 6th, but like they got into it so deep, and with they just lost me completely. But and Destiny even knew shit that even Noam didn't know.
Oh yeah,
and
like what?
I don't remember. Just shit that Noam didn't know. So, I sat there basically like a bump on a log.
Was it interesting?
I mean, much of it was. Some of it, to me, I can only judge it from me. Some of it kind of my eyes glazed over. Like, can we talk about more of the? I like to talk about the big philosophical questions, not this Supreme Court decision and this. what this guy did and that.
Right.
So to me, but it got, like I said, it got 100,000. Well, last time I checked, it was probably more now.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
That's an awful lot, for this podcast.
How come you think it's an awful lot for this podcast, but when it's your joke, you don't consider it an awful lot? Like you said,
well, it's not. I would say I just said it's not viral.
No, but you didn't even frame it the same way. You weren't like, oh, this video I did got an awful lot.
Fair point. Interesting. I'll have to think about that.
Okay.
I have to think about that. But I just think to watch a YouTube video is a bigger deal. I don't know if, like, when it says it got 100,000 views, does that mean they saw the whole thing? Or does it, if you just click for 2 seconds, it counts as a view? I don't know how that works.
I don't know how
because
that
to
works.
watch a whole video is a big deal, whereas to watch a 20-second clip, which is what my clips are, 30 seconds.
Well, but you don't know. I mean, that question is the same
Yeah.
for both of those. Like, you could
Yes,
click
I
on the YouTube video for 2 seconds and it.
Yeah, so I don't know. By the way, I have a semi-hard out at no, we're not even close. At 3:30ish, because I have to. As a friend of mine's, my sister's friend's daughter's wants to be a comic and wanted to have talk to me and get some advice.
I thought you were going to say you had a semi-hard on.
No,
which is
semi-hard out.
What are you going to tell her?
Well, she's a student at a very prestigious school.
Okay.
I'm tempted to tell her, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
No, I don't know what I'll tell her. Depends what her questions are. But I would say she goes to Duke, which is a damn good school. I would say to her, I would say to any young person, I think, look, if you're a dummy, I would say, yeah, try stand-up comedy. You got nothing else. You might as well. You might make a fortune. You won't be the first. But if it's somebody with some brains, I would say, look, your place is try to be a writer. Try to be a writer. If you want to be I would not discourage you from being in the comedy world, but try to write for SNL or write for TV or write for this and that. And then you could do stand-up too. And the writing will enhance the stand-up. Just like Rosebud Baker writes for SNL, and that helps her, gives her credibility and prestige when she does stand-up. So that's what I would say to a young person from a good school or with
I think that's terrible advice.
Why is that terrible advice?
Because
I'm not saying don't do stand-up. I'm saying stand-up is fine, but
also
but writing is something where you can make a really good money and long-term, and I think flex your creative muscle.
I think that the stand-up is
time.
I think that the stand-up is the thing that can get you to the writing.
It can.
More than the writing can get you to the stand-up.
I think both work synergistically. And but I would say put effort into both.
Okay.
I say stand-up, look, stand-up is like, if you're not think about stand-up is you don't have to any IQ point above 115 is extraneous. So,
listen to me.
If you're too smart, you're going to lose the audience. You got to be a man of the people.
I mean, you just gave so many examples of comics who are so smart and just not true what you're saying. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't dumb comedians, but I think that the great comics are all very, very smart.
The great comics are smart. I don't think they're very, very smart.
I don't.
I think they're. I don't think it takes that much intellectual or creative firepower to make the audience laugh.
I think that short term you might be right, but long term it takes an extraordinary amount of hustle and wherewithal,
hustle
and commitment,
and hustle. Hard work, quantity counts. I think quantity maybe even more than quality nowadays. Just flood the social. That's what I'll tell her. I'll say, flood the social media, flood it. Just I don't care if it's funny. Just put it out there. Try to get followers and hustle and having and just connecting in a way that's, I don't know that you can necessarily quantify it or there's just some comedians that connect.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that a Duke University student's going to connect.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, but that's why you have to get on stage, right? Like, I just don't think that unless you are very lucky or, very talented and very lucky that somebody's going to hire you to be a writer. If they see you being very funny as a comic.
But you should have that writing
skill
ready to go.
Yeah.
So that when you get the opportunity to say, well, you got some, what have you written? You got some sketches.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
You've got shit ready to go. And then also, so I would tell her, I mean, she probably knows it because she grew up in the social media generation. She probably knows it better than I do, that you would have to, your presence on social media is very important.
Maybe she can help you with your reels.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what she's studying there. If she's studying like communications or
well, you don't need to study anything to be able.
No, you don't. You don't. Max, any thoughts? We've talked a lot about stand-up.
Like the advice. Or just anything.
Well, if you have any advice that because you're a young stand-up, a newer stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where they are, but I think it's really just doing as many mics as possible, just getting up and starting it.
Yeah, that can't hurt, obviously, yeah.
That's I don't know what other advice there'd be than that. I feel like that's kind of the main thing is, I think a lot of people talk about wanting to do stand-up for a long time and then don't get up ever. So.
I'll include that.
Yeah.
I'll include that in my advice package to this young lady.
Okay. And are you charging for this package?
No. This is a friend of the family, a friend of my sister's daughter. So
okay,
she's not getting charged. I don't charge. I like to give advice. I enjoy it.
Well, I think
proffering advice.
I think it's very generous of spirit of you to do that.
Well, I guess I don't know. Not too big a time commitment.
Okay. Diddy,
yes. Did he do it?
Yes.
Somebody must have come up with that.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
I haven't heard that.
Well, it's out there somewhere, You Googled it. Did he do it? Something will pop up. That's the problem with the internet is like, you think you came up with something and then you Google it, you're like, all right, well.
What do you think of this whole fall from
grace? I haven't been following it closely. First of all, I'm glad he's not Jewish. That goes without saying. I don't mind when a Jew gets arrested for things that, like certain things don't bother me, but things that conform to a stereotype, do bother me. A Jewish sexual predator is a long-standing anti-Semitic.
It is?
Yeah,
I didn't.
And Epstein didn't help. and Weinstein and so many others. So. In particular,
wait, I didn't know that was a long-standing anti.
Sure. It always is. Anytime an oppressed a group is hated, it's thought that they are preying on they're sexual predators. That's just always something that an outside group that's disliked is tagged with. Generally, speaking. That's sort of it's always that. So. So he's not Jewish. Okay, that's good. It's good for me. I mean, look, Chris Rock had a joke about that too, right? Like about just where somebody commits a crime and he's like, oh, I hope he's not black, whatever. So this is not unique to our people, but other than that, I don't know much about it. What's going on with Diddy?
Well,
is it Diddy now? Because it was Puff Daddy, right? Years ago.
It was Puffy. It was back in the 90s. It was Puffy.
That's sort of the last I really concerned myself with him because I loved that remix or whatever you call it of "I'll Be Watching You." The Police song. So he did is that a remix or a redo or whatever?
Yeah. Okay.
He redid it.
Yeah. And
to be about Biggie Smalls. And that was great. I like it better than the Police version.
Okay.
But that was like 1998.
And then
I just stopped paying attention.
Well, that was, 20.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Years ago, yeah.
Astoundingly long ago. It's sickening how fast it all goes, really. But, so I haven't really been paying attention since.
Okay. I mean, the short version is that, it's like racketeering, sex trafficking, rape, that he's being accused of having these like freak off parties, drugging women, and they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
1,000 bottles of baby oil is certainly interesting, but not in and of itself evidence of a crime.
Well,
The evidence of a lot of masturbation.
yeah, maybe, but I think he's being accused of far more sinister things than masturbation. And I think the thing that's most appalling about all of this is that, like, this is, 25 years or 20 something years. Like, he didn't just start doing this. And so, like, how many people are involved in, like, covering this up? And how many people?
We've seen that before over and over again. I mean, Weinstein was doing it for years. Epstein.
It's horrible.
Cosby. I mean, it goes back. It often does take a while, I guess, because victims don't want to come forward. They're hesitant to come forward.
Yeah, I don't think that's what it is. I think that people protect these.
Well, that too. But we see it a lot, that it just takes sometimes decades.
It's horrible
for shit to come out,
because nobody wants to hold rich, famous, powerful people accountable. I mean, you can watch a video from like 25 years ago of Courtney Love.
Well, we love to watch rich, famous people go down. I mean, we live for that shit as consumers of news. The OJ trial was the biggest ratings bonanza.
But wait, let me finish this.
But the people around him.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. So if there's a video of Courtney Love, like maybe 30 years ago on the red carpet, I think at like the MTV Awards, and they asked her, what's the biggest secret in Hollywood? Yeah. And she said, she looked around, she goes, I shouldn't be saying this, but if Harvey Weinstein invites you back to his hotel room, don't go.
Right.
And now, of course,
I mean, that should have been, I don't want to, I mean, it sounds like I'm victim blaming, but it seems obvious not to go back to a dude's hotel room if you don't want to have sex with the dude.
No, it doesn't seem obvious at all. If somebody like Harvey Weinstein is calling a meeting in his
somebody
hotel
calls a
room,
meeting in his hotel room, and you're the only two people there.
Well, but by the time you get there, you don't know that. Like, this is
fair point.
This is like
if he's saying we're having a meeting, me and my associates and you at the hotel room.
But he's not going to say. First of all, he's not going to say anything. Some girl who's working for him is liaising this whole thing.
Okay.
The fact that you get like raped when you get there has.
I concede the point.
Okay.
I concede the point.
What I'm saying is that it's really fucking appalling. It really is that, Anyway, so he's apparently in a cell with that crypto guy.
Oh yeah, that guy who is Jewish.
And it's also a stereotype.
Yeah,
it's Sam,
money related.
Sam
fraudster related.
Bankman-Fried or something like that. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And what did he do?
That was the FTX thing where they took all of the money and spent it on other stuff and just basically stole money.
It was like a Bernie what's
a Madoff.
Yeah, a Madoff kind of situation, like billions of dollars.
Like, these names seem to go with what they do, like Bankman and Madoff.
Oh my God!
It's weird that the names sort of correspond to the crime.
People call Diddy like a diddler.
Yeah, Diddley, yeah.
Diddler, yeah.
That's very good.
So
you don't have that much.
Well, it's like that runner. That runner who's that really fast runner with the name that sounds fast?
Jackie Joyner.
No, that really fast.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah,
Usain Bolt.
Yeah, like that guy. When the name just fits.
There's a good song about him.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
I'll play it for you later. Okay.
Do you ever have someone send you a song that says, "Oh, you're gonna love this song"? I send you a song, and you don't want to tell them you don't like the song. Somehow you feel like you're insulting them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably...
Like, you don't want to tell them your taste is ass, dude.
You have bad taste in music?
Right. For some reason, that feels like a real affront.
Usain Bolt, him faster than a bullet. Ya never thought a Jamaican could do it.
Well, who else would do it if not a Jamaican? Certainly not...
Certainly not Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, not him. Anyway, like people, and I get insulted if I recommend a song But and then they're
Do
like,
you? And then you're like, I don't.
and they're like, they don't. I'm like, what do you mean you don't? What do you mean you don't like it? How do you not like that song, you moron? But people have tastes that are so wide ranging. I've had to accept that. You know.
Do you think that extends to other things other than music? Like if you,
I think music is particularly rough if you don't like to say that. Nah, I'm not, you know, it feels particularly insulting to dismiss somebody's musical taste for some reason. To me,
I think that I've experienced that if I've like shown somebody or sent somebody like a stand-up clip that I think is like hysterical, and they're just like,
Oh, yeah, I guess I've never sent anybody a stand-up clip that I think is hysterical. So that's outside the realm of my experience.
You've never seen a stand-up clip that you
No,
thought
I've seen
was
a few.
hysterical.
I've seen some, but obviously over the years, I'm after all this time, I'm a little jaded. But you know, I mean, there are very few comics that I will go down to watch. I'd like to watch Keith Robinson. I'd like to watch Jim Norton, and Attell. You know, he's usually here very late. And Tracy Morgan, I enjoy. And I enjoy.
Wait, Tracy Morgan. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's so out there.
Yeah, like what?
He's just so nutty. I just find him funny.
And
I also enjoy the audience reaction to big stars. You know, I enjoy seeing the audience kind of erupt in applaud, like they can't believe that, you know, this person or that person just showed up.
Okay, so you'll stay down and watch.
So I might go down to see the audience reaction when they're brought up.
Okay.
You know.
And then do you find that it matters if said star is really, really funny, or do you think that they're just enjoying the fact that they're...
I think both. I think they're enjoying the fact that they're seeing a big star. And the star, and usually they're funny. You know, I don't think I mean, now oftentimes they'll do new jokes. So, you know, they might not kill as hard as the comics that went on before them, because the comics went on before them aren't doing all new material, whereas a big star comes here for one reason only, and that's to work out new shit. That's why a big star would come down here to pop up for 10 minutes. So they want to do new stuff. So they might not kill as hard for that reason.
But do you think that they're granted more leeway?
I think they're granted some more leeway, yes. I don't know if it's a ton more leeway.
I think they still have to be funny,
I think
right?
they still have to be funny. I do think they get some leeway. And I do think the audience just really enjoys, this is a celebrity, you know, and I think that's enjoyable. And also if the celebrity talks about their life, you get an insight into the life of a celebrity, I think is interesting to people. You know, Ray Romano was talking about his son the other night. Just, you know, I think it's the idea of this huge star, you know.
Yeah, sure.
He's a father like any other.
Right.
And the idea that he has sort of a lot of the same things that go on with his kids, go on with other people and their kids. It's really no different. And so I think that's interesting. And then I just know what I find interesting. Well, you know, what's his name? Al Franken, you know, he was here. And he was talking about being a senator, you know?
Yeah.
And
that was interesting.
And I thought it was interesting.
Was he funny?
He wasn't crushing like the other comics were crushing, you know?
But nobody else was talking about being a senator.
But nobody else was talking about being a senator. But meeting, you know, Chuck Grassley. What's his name? Chuck Grassley? Is that the guy?
I have no idea.
Grassley, the senator from, you know, and being in the Senate. I mean, it's just interesting.
Well, but like you could have like, you know, a grocer come and talk about what it's like to be.
All right, but I don't know, being a grocer is as fascinating as being a senator or being a big celebrity in general.
Yeah, okay. That might not be like the best example, but a gynecologist.
Well,
that might
I don't know how fascinating that is. Now, you were recently at the gynecologist.
I was.
I don't know if that's why you brought that up.
Well, not intentionally, but probably it's on my mind. I think
it's not your mind that the gynecologist was interested in.
No, it wasn't my mind at all. It was, first of all, it was a new gynecologist, and she was gorgeous and kind of like cool. And it was just like really shocking to me how we've like normalized like walking into a doctor's office and like you're supposed to be like just okay with just people like sticking their hands like inside your body.
I don't know that we normalize that. I
mean, you go to
that is what doctors do. I mean, you know.
Well, not all the time. No, it's not. It's not when you go to the eye doctor.
No, but you know, how many comics have joked about the proctologist sticking a finger in there?
Right. I declined that. I declined having her stick her.
We don't need to hear about. First of all,
you asked me.
I didn't ask you, but I said that comics make jokes about that.
No, you asked me. You said you opened the door that I was at the gynecologist.
Yeah, but I don't need. But what does that have to do with your butt?
Well, they check everything.
Well, but that's a gynecologist who specializes in the vagina.
But they also check your butt.
Well, why would they do that if it's a gynecologist?
I don't know. They do.
Well, maybe the gynecologist needs to have his license suspended. Because that's not gynecology.
It's
not. I understand it.
No, it's not. But she asked if.
But she got a dual degree.
I'm pretty sure it's normal, but I had.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I've never been to gynecologist.
I just had. And why can you say that comics have made jokes about it, but then when I say it, you're like, we don't need to hear that.
I don't know. Might have to investigate why.
I just had a colonoscopy very recently, so I was within the window that I didn't need to.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you had a colonoscopy?
Yes, I have. Yes, and and the doctor said I did a fantastic job with the prep.
Me too.
So that I was all clean.
Yeah.
And he praised me greatly for that.
I would like to say that I think it's really important to go do these checkups.
Yeah, sure. We on this show are advocates of preventative medicine.
Yes.
So you went to the gynecologist who was an attractive woman.
Yeah, she was really like.
How old was she?
She was probably like in her early 50s.
Oh, all right.
Oh my God!
I thought I had kind of a vision in my mind.
I mean, it's not like a porn.
All right, because I was wondering. Well, no, because I thought maybe you were getting at was that you were turned on.
No, I wasn't turned on. I was just taking note. Like she was like noticeably like very good looking. You made a face like women in their 50s can't be attractive.
I did make that face. I did. I copped to it. I have no excuse. You know, not that they can't. You know, look, it can be done. It can be done. It's just tricky. That's all. It's tricky. With a woman, if she told me she was 33, then I have it's a whole other level there.
Well, like you had like a porn category in your head.
No, you said she was attractive, so I'm thinking, okay,
your idea of
this
attractive
might be going in a certain direction,
right?
That she was turning you on.
No.
I'm not saying I thought you guys ended up making out, but whatever. But anyway. You said attractive. I had what I was thinking.
You had your idea of attractive.
Yeah.
Squarely.
No, I'm not saying in the 50, but it's a tough. It's a tougher thing.
Oh my!
Well, it's hard. Look for men too. Men are
not true. Not true.
Well, I granted I look great, but a lot of men my age are really.
I just want to tell you that if you saw her, you would be like, she's really good looking. Like, for sure. Like, I know you well enough to be able to...
Okay. Well, I'm not saying it can't be done.
But it's outrageous that, like, that's just, like, your whole body, like, recoiled.
Well, I don't think my whole body recoiled. But, it was yeah. Yeah, well, what can I tell you? It's 33 53 is not 33.
No, it's not.
And whether for men or for women. I mean, men maybe skew older so that a man is at maximum hot, probably 45, maybe 40,
I mean, you're pushing it for sure.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's maybe late 30s or something like that.
Okay.
Like Brad Pitt in what was that movie, Meet Joe Black? I don't know how old he was there, but
I
probably
didn't see
late
that,
30s.
but fine.
I mean, he was
So you're
off the
saying men
charts.
are maximum hot?
Probably later than women.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. But it doesn't last forever for men either.
Okay, so what women are maximum hot?
I like 33-ish.
Okay.
I like 33.
Yeah, I picked up on that.
But one could make a case for
23-ish?
One could make a case if one were so inclined. one could make that. But as I get older, my age has moved up some. So maybe when I'm 90, I'll say 50 is the hottest.
Right.
Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know. I hope so. Because otherwise.
So 23 is too young for you now.
23 looks to me like a child. 23 looks like a child.
Really?
Yeah, I mean.
You wouldn't kick her out of bed.
Well, maybe not. But, you know, it's not optimal.
Right. Okay.
So, you know.
That's interesting. So 33 is like.
How about that?
Yeah.
In that
35 is over.
Yeah, for 35 is okay. Okay.
But over 40 is
40
pushing.
40, even 40. But once we're getting into the 50s, it becomes difficult.
Mm.
It becomes tricky.
So women your age are out.
Women, you know, yeah, you know, I mean, and then I don't know if they're out, but I haven't been dating anyway, so the question is moot. But
like if you met,
I'd prefer at least 10 years younger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's disgraceful. What can I tell you?
No.
I don't make the rules. That I didn't come up with this horror that we call the human race and the human condition. You think I came up with this shit?
No, I just
If
think.
it were up to me, everybody would be beautiful their whole lives.
Well, maybe they are. I mean, maybe,
Max, what's the oldest? Max is another generation. Let's get the Gen Z perspective.
I'm like a millennial. I'm a young millennial.
Well, how old are you?
I just turned 30.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I didn't
happy
know that.
30.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So what age is the oldest woman that you would be really juiced for as a 30-year-old man? Like the maximum age that, not that, she's attractive. Yeah, I might have sex with it. No, I mean really like, holy shit.
I usually also like girls younger than me, but I would go like mid-30s.
Okay, mid-30s. Okay, so him and I are kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
Similar page.
And when you were like in your 20s?
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, probably.
Also mid-30s?
No, I was probably more just my age.
Just your age.
Probably more my age.
So you never had sex with like a much older woman when you were much younger? Or found somebody like attractive?
Yes, but it was for compensation.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you picked. Even more so. I think that's legit. Like you picked her.
Well, no, she was just happened to be working that night at the massage parlor.
Okay, but you could have. I mean, if
I could have said no, but I wanted to lose my virginity.
Okay. And so she was much older.
My guess would be yes. I don't know how old she was. It's hard to tell, The Asians, they age very well. But I think she was I was 21-ish, maybe 22. She might have been late 30s.
Late 30s.
Might have been. It's kind of lost in the haze of my memory.
Well, I mean, this is
all I
very
remember is she offered me a student discount.
No.
She said, "Student, I'm not going to do the accent because you're not allowed to do that anymore." But she said, I didn't have, like she said, $100, whatever, $100, $200, whatever. I said I only have $100. She says, "Okay, student discount."
No way.
Yeah, and I wasn't a student, but I didn't tell her. I didn't want to.
I thought you were trying.
I didn't want to lose the deal. No, she didn't ask for student ID.
That's how you lost your virginity?
That's correct. Yeah, that's how I lost it.
That's unbelievable. In New York?
No, this was in Stamford, Connecticut.
Wow. And did you know that you were going?
I was told, my friend of mine from high school said, you go to this place and you get, a hand job.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember whether he said they give you extra or not. So I figured I'll just go for that, which I hadn't done either, by the way.
Really?
So that would have been a first. If that's all that happened, that would have been a first. So then she offered me, a selection of options. So I took the full service.
How did she tell you?
Well, yeah, her English wasn't great.
Well, you weren't there for a language lesson.
She said to me, she used emotions with her hands of, $50 point to her mouth, $80, whatever, full service. She said full service, whatever price she gave, which I didn't have. And then she said student discount.
That's hysterical. And that should be the title of
student
your next.
Discount?
Yes.
Student discount. All right.
1,000%. Yes.
Well, that could be when I decide to quit with the shtick and get real.
Yes.
which I've been talking about and really
Yes.
haven't really done.
Well,
At the end of the day, I still like the clever.
but you
know?
can be, but why? It's not mutually exclusive.
No, not mutually exclusive.
I mean, this is like the greatest story I've
Well, the
ever.
greatest story maybe is Moses parting the Red Sea.
I don't know. You losing your virginity in a massage parlor to an Asian hooker in Connecticut is pretty fucking great.
I mean, I can't be the only one.
I think it's a pretty unique story.
Well, I think a lot of people lose their virginity that way. You mean with a professional, but I don't know that.
Okay, but how many people are also great comics who talk about it on stage?
You're right. You're right. You're right.
And it's a good
Yeah,
place to
you're
end,
right.
me being right.
Yeah, you're right. You often are right. You often are right, and I'm often recalcitrant. But that's that's how it goes. I don't deny. I'm not going to Noam you and just. Well, no, Noam gives you credit.
Yeah, he'll admit.
What time is it? Oh, so it's at 3:36.
Yeah,
Okay, I have to call this young lady in a bit.
Oh, I thought you were
Just that-
meeting her.
No, I'm just calling her. I mean, if she comes to New York, I'm happy to show her the Comedy Cellar. Maybe she can try to get an intern. She wants an internship over the summer. I don't know. I guess I could put in a.
Why don't you
call or two.
Why don't you let her intern for you?
I don't have much work for her to
Well,
do.
that's not true.
I mean, I guess I have.
She
No,
could
I-
write. What are you talking about? She could.
she could
be
do edit clips.
super useful.
I guess. I don't think she wants. I think she wants something a little more prestigious.
That is prestigious for a college student to be able to
No,
intern.
she wants probably an interview.
Oh,
intern for like
God.
SNL.
You are
Maybe like.
exhausting.
Well, that's arguably part of my charm, but I guess arguably not.
All right,
You have been. Thank you for listening to this episode. I don't know how many. Look, we don't have Destiny on, so we may not get 100,000 views, but thank you for listening. Podcast at comedycellar.com. And by the way, my book, Ira Spiro Before COVID. It's a fictionalized look at the world of stand-up comedy and television writing. Ira Spiro Before COVID, available on Amazon. And Periel has two books. The Only Bush I Trust Is My Own, and On My Knees. They're both memoirs recounting her younger days in New York. Is that fair to
Amongst
fair
other things.
characterizations? And that's also available on Amazon and I guess anywhere else. So we thank you for listening. Thank you, Max, for helping us out with the
Yeah,
sound.
no problem.
And bye-bye.
Bye bye.